I'm told by the power of iteration that this is the 33rd episode of this show, King Arthur Pendragon 5.2. To some extent, there was a question of whether this would still be a 5.2 show, and the answer is it will still be a 5.2 show. We are not switching over to King Arthur Pendragon 6.0 quite yet for several different reasons. I think the prevailing winds right now, given the large number of rules changes and the burden that they may place upon the show, is that we will talk more about it if all of the characters all die at the same time. We'll make some decisions then.
I feel rather threatened.
You guys keep acting like I want to kill your characters. Glimo, thanks for that resub. Well timed for, right after I get done with the intro part.
And to answer your questions, because I've been playing role-playing games with you for 4 years.
How many times have I tried to kill your character specifically offhand? Like real out-of-pocket murder, James.
In this show?
Well, not in this show, in other shows. And also, I don't feel like I've specifically targeted you. The only person here who I think could claim I targeted them is Glimo. At this table. In this economy.
He's got a point.
Hey, I'm the narrator of the show, APGamingREAL, on this 33rd episode. I'm joined by BigSpoon as Kendric of Pitton, which are things that you hammer into rocks. Glimo is Kyned of Laverton, and GrimDarkJames is Gwgan of Shrewton. We'll see how long GrimDarkJames as Gwgan of Shrewton survives today, since apparently I'm gonna cook his ass. We're putting him in the box today. Friends, we open on the year 498. It is a good and glorious year, and you find yourselves invited to the Countess Ellen's court at Sarum. We see 3 women who are gossiping in a corner as your knights proceed in with whatever family you'd like to bring with you one by one. I imagine that you're in the background, slightly out of focus, but we can really tell it's you because of your house colors, and like you do the thing where TV show characters and intros, like this is like 90s, early 2000s, where you walk in and you're like, for the camera sort of deal. You know what I'm talking about? Spoon knows what I'm talking about for sure. Is it Galaxy Quest that did? Yes. Yeah, Galaxy Quest for sure. Like, that's the last place I really saw that sort of thing, but it fully is like 100%, like dozens of shows could be named that do that sort of like
that you're talking to an extra and then you turn and look at the camera and you're like,
yeah. Too Many Cooks, I think, did it as well.
Catch a ball from off screen.
All right, so you guys know what I'm talking about as these 3 women are talking. And the first one says, "Don't you think matters are just getting worse?" "Well, I'll say that with all these Saxons showing up, there won't be a man shortage soon. Listen, darlings, it can't be good next year if they take all the cattle. Let me tell you something. We can't take this forever. We're gonna have to do something." But isn't it better than being burned out and besieged? Look at those men. If they ever come over here and get over these walls, we'll all have Saxon bastards by next spring. So, you've arrived at a castle where discussion is hot as hell because Prince Cynric of Wessex is standing across from Prince Esquine of Essex, is standing across from Prince Selin of Sussex, as the 3 of them form a triangle of terror. Their escort knights, their attendants, their Saxon bastards, all are staring at each other, and there is a very serious toxic masculinity between them as they are posturing. Some of them are taking their shirts slightly off to show their muscles and gesticulate around. Some of them reach for weapons at their belt that are not present just to like threaten somebody else. There are games of strength that have truly degraded into little more than wrestling matches in Ellen's Hall. And on top of all of this, Ellen, of course, is still holding a very normal spring festival here.
Which Saxon bachelor will get our rose?
There are also a number of gentlemen around whose purpose is not immediately apparent, which is why I'm going to ask our intrigue master, Glimo, to roll an intrigue roll.
To decide if no, I'm not gonna make.
You're not
anything up.
impassioning?
I don't think so.
Okay. Give me the flat roll.
I think it's more likely to go badly if I do.
Okay. All right. An 8 is pretty good. I'm going to tell you the people that you suspect are being represented here. You are detecting an undercurrent of intrigue sweeping through this event. There is someone here wearing the colors of Queen Ygraine who appears to be attempting to recruit knights for some cause. There's someone here wearing the colors of King Lot, who is technically the regent of Oh, okay. He's technically the regent of the realm of Logris and king of Lothian. There is someone here who is recruiting for an organization called the King's Men, which is very strange because there is no king of Logris, but these are claiming to be the King's Men of Logris, who look little better than dirty road bandits. It's not just one guy, it's 3 guys, but they're putting the guy who has the most teeth forward to talk to people. You notice that King Cerdic, beyond sending his heir, Prince Sinric, has also sent a bannerman. In a knightly fashion, he has sent someone to recruit for a completely separate project from sending his son here.
And that's Sussex.
That is Wessex.
Wessex.
That's the knights that were true to Vortigern, who went to the continent and came back Saxonish. They just landed a few years ago. You also notice someone with the colors of Duke Ulfius is attempting to recruit knights for a purpose. And someone who is just straight up holding Merlin's personal sigil of a Starscape, who appears to be recruiting knights for a purpose.
Is it like, what do you do at colleges where you have all the clubs?
A rush.
To join? Yeah, but people try to join in the clubs at the start of the new college year. Is that what it's like? Everyone's got little booths out for why you should join the King's Men, why you should join, etc. Yeah.
There are, in addition, a herald caller who is calling for any knights who wish to pledge themselves to the cause of King Idris of Cornwall to be recompensed well for their service. And that person is in a physical pushing match with a herald from Earl Urban of Devon, who is calling for knights to resist the onslaught of King Idris of Cornwall, and they will also be well compensated for their defense of Logris against this tyrant from the continent. So there are fully 3+ physical conflicts between grown men breaking out in this chaos, in a completely demure Countess Ellen, truly seated literally above it all, just like, what the fuck is happening in my house? It is fortunate today, then, that no one has come bearing arms except those who have been authorized by the Countess, because tensions are high. It is rowdy here. There's a lot of flute playing. There's a couple tin whistles. There's some drums going on. Shit has fully spooled out of the hall into the whole castle proper, out of the castle, and indeed past the walls. It has turned into a jubilation, a celebration, a fight, a spectacle, all at once. And as you enter last, Sir Kendric, someone hands you a letter from Sir Marlborough.
Excellent. What does my letter say?
Your letter says that he would, if you have the time, good sir, as one who has previously commanded your sword and your loyalty, if you could afford to spend your family's lives, he has coin for the Earl of Devon that he would pay for it. That there is an invader upon his lands and upon the lands of the Earl of Devon, and that to resist King Idris of Cornwall is to fight in Cornwall once again as brothers. And that if the young wolf, the last survivor, the last hope of the prince were to come, it may bolster these men of Marlborough.
This dude knows how to manipulate Kendric.
Yes, because he also mentions that you owe him for gambling debts. With that said, the Earl is offering 2 Libra for every vassal independent knight like yourself, right? Like every in-fife knight. 1 Libra for every household knight that attends, half a Libra for every mercenary, a quarter Libra for every men at arms that attends, and then 1/4 Libra for every 10 levies that attends. If you bring your forces. So based on what you know, like, if this is just a summer campaign or something, that pay is not very good. It's not great.
Since everybody else is in their cliques, shall we form our clique to have a conversation before we start?
I was just going to say, Kyned would gather Gwgan and Kendric and tell them what he's observed so far, and say, well, Kendric, you go and see my family's enemy, I'll go and see yours.
I think that, so there's a lot of people here, obviously, and Kenneth Ellen is going to expect us to have some guidance. I think that the time has come to commit to one or another. I think that there are 3 kings here. All will expect tribute. And the land is already quite brokered by the past tributes. I think we need to pitch to all 3 that we will commit to the one that will defend us from the other 2, and see who comes forward with the best offer, basically. But potentially we can buy ourselves some time this year by simply saying that, we need them to, we're not going to bend the knee today. We need them to show the Countess why she should choose them as our ally. I'm glad that somebody's here from Silchester too, because I'd like to find out exactly how the Duke's agreement with he signed with Cerdic.
He has announced that he is going to sign with AL of Essex.
Okay,
Yeah,
well, we'll see.
He has not done it yet, but he's basically told everybody, I'm going to do it this year.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'd like to find out how that's working out so far.
So you are inviting Gwent, but not the other members of the Order of the Axe here?
I think we're the original 4, aren't we?
Sure, to some extent. So Gwent had a squire named Maritza, who he has replaced now that Maritza has kind of graduated out of service, because I believe Maritza's 21 now.
Did Maritza get invaded?
I couldn't remember if Maritza was one of your guys' things. If not, then Maritza is being made a unlanded knight in Gwent's house. He's literally desperate for anyone that he can get now that he has 10 bastards to take care of as well.
Yeah.
That guy is 100% shooting male for all of his kids. He has a new squire with him, Joachim of Horton, Horton is one of the new manors that has been claimed by Baron Will in the north.
Shall we break up with who we want to speak with then.
Well, I
Or
think we
we-
need to. I think we need to talk to the Countess first to get her okay with this plan before we start having these conversations with the three kings or the three princes.
Agreed
Sorry.
on the three kings part, but I feel like there's other
Other people to attend to, of course.
news to be gained.
Gwen
And
says, as long as we're talking about things in threes, don't forget that the three Cadlus are still in Norgals. There's all sorts of things up there with Nantaleode and the Singing King, whatever his silly name was, the one who follows the questing beast. There's all sorts of opportunities up there. Are we thinking about ranging afar this year? There seem to be many guests in these halls.
I mean, if we are to range, it would have to be with the permission of the Countess, and it would have to be with a view to bringing wealth back to Logris, because Logris is tapped for wealth right now.
I have to say, as a keen observer of socio-political affairs, and he's saying this sarcastically, or perhaps sardonically, honestly, our county has fared better than many. We have suffered very few attacks, and most of them from our own people. And that has been handled. He says, looking at Kendric and Kyned.
But we've bought that piece at an enormous cost we can't continue to keep paying.
He gives you a nod and then sort of shifts around while looking uncomfortable, but still nodding.
I think what must first be done is to fulfill our vows to the Countess and offer our advice, should she call for it.
Okay. So, you're all going to visit the Countess at once. Let us not forget there are, 9+ people here to talk to on top of the Countess. And while I did ask Kyned for an intrigue roll earlier, there is actually more intrigue that you can intrigue out going on here. Mm-hmm. It's a big feast this year, guys. It's a big one, especially after what a crappy winter it was. You go to visit the Countess. The three of you and Gwen are all received together by her privately. Like she fully gets up from her seat and sidebars with you, looking out a beautiful glass like window, probably one of very few here. And just, like her people, like handmaids and some like knights, form a physical barrier to keep anyone from coming over and listening in on your conversation. And she half turns away from you and says, "They want triple tribute this year. We can't afford to pay everyone. You seem to have come to me with some counsel traveling together. What would you say?"
Indeed, my lady. The council we have discussed is that this year we put to all three princes, that we asked them to give us a case for why we should throw our lot in with each one individually of them, on the provision that they defend us from the other two. We already know that the Duke Ulfius has done this, or is doing this with King Ayla. We could potentially buy time if we ask them to tender a response about what it is that they bring and why we should choose them. And then I think the time will have to come where we will have to make a decision.
I think that maybe all things being equal otherwise.
Spoon, you're really quiet right now, by the way.
Sorry. All things being equal otherwise, King Kendric is our next door neighbor. The others would have to march through other counties that may not be friendly to them.
Gwen nods, but he says, on the other hand, if we were to align ourselves with Swine and El, Kendric could not turn against us without turning his back to an enemy. Does not Wessex border Sussex?
As
He nods his head and says, "That's not a gamble I'd make." And as he says that, he pulls out a deck of cards and begins shuffling.
So I think that we lack the information to choose one right now, but we can put it to them to convince us.
Very well. If you believe that you can get them to negotiate each other down, he looks out at Asquine, who's got one truly muddy boot up on one of her benches and is doing like a real posturing, like shin, fist, elbow on knee, like looking out over the other two, just like super like, "That's right, bitch, come at me," like across the feast. Surely someone with a honeyed enough tongue and a poisonous enough words could turn them against each other. And she turns to look at Kyned, somewhat questioning but hopeful.
Kyned will give a significant nod.
Well, it sounds as if your counsel is to wait until you come back with better counsel, which I shall do. I will return to the feast for now, but I hope to see all of you again later. But as she says this, she brushes up against Gwgan and the back of their hands touch, and the camera zooms in on that.
Is it like the pinky fingers, just sort of, like?
No. I don't want. I don't want it to be that advanced yet. I don't want it to be that advanced yet. Listen, we're cooking, okay? We cook before we boil. All right.
Okay.
Let it simmer before it flows over. Just as a reminder, my audience is 98% male. I like these romance plots.
Me too.
But most people are here for the spreadsheets and BattleTech. I know. Just stick with me, guys.
As Countess Ellen returns to her chair, I think we'll have a little powwow again with the little meeting with the three of us.
Okay.
So,
Well, hold on. As you're having that discussion, you can see that Lady Gwiona is having a conversation with Baron Will as well. And in Crusader Kings 3 style, I'm giving you the choice of which one you want to go to at the feast.
So either
listen in on your wife having a discussion with your rival, or attend to business at hand with your bros.
I think Kendric says, "I'll take Kendric," and walks off.
I hope you meant Serdic.
Oh, well, Serdic's not here. Serdic is the king.
Serdic is the king. Kenric is the prince.
Okay.
And he sent his prince here to.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna go listen in on my wife and Yule.
Are you making any attempt to hide yourself while this is happening?
I don't think Kendric has that.
He doesn't have that dog in him?
He's on a 16 or 14, so he doesn't, and he's got a 3 intrigue, so he's not full of guile.
Okay. So just know then that you will absolutely be spotted at some point during this conversation.
And I don't think
you're not making an attempt to hide. I understand.
Yeah, and I think he's basically just like slowly approaching, paying attention to their conversation. He's like, stopping, and like glad handing with someone as he's like,
and walk up and hand your wife a drink, like that's what you plan to do the whole time.
Oh,
exactly.
That's a good one. Yes. All right. This is a man who's had a wife at a corporate party before. Yes, I see. You catch Baron Will and your wife in the middle of a conversation, and he says, "It is a bit late for her to get started. She is 17, but I had been exploring my options, and you seem like my best. I would be honored if you were to take in my daughter as your handmaiden." And Gwiona says, "I'm not sure that's appropriate given the status between our houses. I would certainly want to speak with my husband beforehand. And Will's like, lady, I am, his lord. He owes some measure of loyalty to me. And do you not through him as well? Surely you don't also can make this independent judgment without your wonderful husband who just joined us, Sir Kendric. We were just talking about you.
Hello, Sir Baron Huel.
Congratulations on your
life.
ascendance to Knight Lord.
Thank you, Baron.
He offers you a handshake.
I will hand my wife a goblet of wine and then shake his hand and go, here you are, my dear.
Okay, she wraps an arm around your shoulder and presents a literal united front against the Baron in the process.
Nice.
Which, let's be clear. Let me be perfectly clear here. It's pretty tenuous as to whether or not you're in the shit house.
Sure.
Things
absolutely.
are talked about and they were never talked about again. But here, right now, in front of Will, 100% you guys are on the same page.
That's right.
So Baron Will runs through again his proposal that his daughter, Myreed of West Lavington, she's 17 years old. She should have been made a handmaiden at some point. He'd been hoping to find a worthy lady among his retinue of knights as a baron, but things have not come to pass in that regard, and Lady Gwgan is just so glorious and well thought of. He would be greatly honored if she was to learn at her side, and to serve her, of course.
Well, my wife was handmaiden to the Countess for quite some time before we were married, so it would be a position of great honor, and I think that
He looks at you very seriously and says, I believe that I can trust leaving Myreed in your house. I believe your family is worthy and will defend her and her honor.
What is her relation to you, my lord?
My daughter?
Your daughter, okay. I wasn't sure if it was a niece or cousin or...
It's my only child.
Your only child, okay.
Only child.
Well,
it is of incredible importance to me that she be raised well and good. Much of my time when I am not toiling away for the county is spent making sure that her life is better than that of a humble country banneret of little renown or importance.
Well, I think Kendric kind of turns to look at Griona and says, do you have need of another handmaiden right now?
She gives you a look that says that she really doesn't. She doesn't need one. But, if you could use this somehow to your advantage, she could take one. Yes, it's going to cost your household, but that cost, for you, that cost is in the background, right? Taking care of this girl and shaping her, it's so late, she's 17 years old. There's so much that she's going to have to catch up on, but it's a commitment your wife is willing to make if you think it's worth it. But she doesn't need another handmaiden.
Do I have any idea of how I could spin this and because Kendrick has some idea, or I have some ideas,
right.
But I don't know if
it's, first off, it is a great honor to have, someone who is above you, literally someone who you technically owe some small measure of loyalty and oath to offer you their only child is a pretty big deal, right? And if Griona is partially responsible for helping to get Myreed married, your boy would owe you a favor.
Okay. I mean, better would be to take her into your house and have him murdered. Because
that's one definite way to gain a shit ton of power. Well, in that case, you could also kill your wife and then marry Mayreed in the process as well. As long as we're going Crusader Kings, we should go full Crusader Kings.
Like it did cross my mind to be like, but I think Tathan's a little young to be married to Mayreed. She's 7 years older than him.
But
Actually,
that's not
I-
unusual in this time period.
Sure.
You know, listen, man, I just watched one of the episodes of House of the Dragon, and they're like, you're what, like 50 years old? You should marry like an 8-year-old. We're dozens of adult men saying you should marry an 8-year-old. And this guy's like, am I the only person on this show who has a fucking clue what's going on? She's a child. I'm 3 times her height. And I'm like, that's the only guy on the show that has a fucking clue. Otto Hightower, this guy's a fucking nut job.
The other thing you could do, just for pure irony, would be to divorce your wife by claiming she was like not loyal to you.
Oh my god. Listen, I want to be super clear here. This is one of those things that, like, you're good with the Countess, you're not good enough with the Countess. That if you reject her only handmaiden on a bullshit claim, like her former handmaiden, sorry, if you try to divorce, and let's not even get the Pope involved because you had a Christian lmarriage.
Sure.
Wow, listen. I know I said I wanted someone with a honey tongue and poison words, but do not let James drive you into a corner here. That is sabotage.
No, I think, I think, given the kind of tacit approval of Griona, I think Kendric would say, we would be honored to have Mary join our household as my wife's handmaid.
Okay. In the background, you hear cheers. And it is announced that finally this year there will be the marriage of Sir Opho and Lady Jenna. No longer will it be an engagement. They're going 100%. And you hear that Titania announces that before the winter of this year, she will hold a hunt in the Lady Jenna's honor. Kyned, Gwgan, what do you got going on?
Well, so after Kendric walked off, okay, so he's sorted that one. I'm keen to talk to the representative of Duke Ulfius to find out how their relationships are going now that they have at least committed to signing in with Ayla and Acequine, in which case it would make sense then if we were dividing up the 3 princes to talk to, that I would also then talk with Acequine after that conversation.
Okay. So you go ahead to talk to...
Well, sorry, is Kyned okay with this?
Kyned also would have gone that route, but he will defer to you as the senior knight if you wish to push that.
I think so. I think that's the way that Gwgan would push it. So
okay. So Gwgan, you head over to talk to the representative from Duke Ulfius. He is holding a staff, and it has a very... When I say it has a banner, I don't mean like a loose, limp thing that isn't going to be moving in here. It has a very like thick fabric, almost like a placard, bearing his banner. And he sees you. He is wearing like full like blue, like royal blue kind of outfit with like a frilly skirt sort of deal, almost like Shakespearean in nature. And he says, "Ah, I believe I recognize you. You are Sir Gwgan, yes?"
Indeed. Do I recognize him? Do I roll recognize?
No, because he's just a court functionary. You've never met this man before.
Okay. You have me at a loss, sir.
Ah, I've been specifically instructed to look out for you. I am here to speak for the Duke Ulfius. I assume you have come about the mission for Merlin.
That wasn't the reason for my attendance, but that's something we can still discuss.
My apologies.
First off, allow me to offer my congratulations to your lord's son on his pending nuptials.
He gives you he doffs his hat and puts one leg behind the other and gives you like a half bow, half curtsy sort of deal. I thank you on behalf of the Duke.
I was curious to learn, sir, a little bit more about how the Duke's relationship with King Ayla of the Saxons has gone. I know that that's still pending, but
no, pending not anymore. The Duke has fully committed to tributing to King Ayla, and he recognizes him as King of Essex.
And how is the prosperity of Silchester following such a announcement?
Prosperity of Silchester is great and wonderful, as it always has been. As much as anyone can say in these economically troubled times of roaming bandits and raids left and right, and mysterious knights who bear no colors that ride out into the western parts of Silchester, killing horses.
And how have the Saxons of East and South Saxony responded to this?
I cannot speak for their response because I was not there when it was received, but I am sure you can speak with the princes themselves to see how they fare about it.
But they have not responded by sending men at arms to the borders of Silchester, is what I'm getting at.
Indeed, not to my knowledge, although such things could happen at any time. With that said, my Lord Duke Orpheus is secure in the knowledge and confident in the power and majesty of King Ayla of Essex, the most powerful of the three lords who try to present themselves.
Now, what is this matter you mentioned of Merlin before?
Yes, the wizard Merlin has summoned knights of the realm to him. He is seeking an escort to Dorchester, where he intends to board a boat and head to the continent. He is worried that his old enemies will attempt to recruit against him and stab him in the dark or attack him at any time. Duke Orpheus would like to see to it that Merlin is as far away from the court as possible. And so is it. I'm laughing, but the Herald is not. And so is attempting to recruit knights to help the wizard Merlin. The wizard Merlin, of course, has promised treasures beyond the worth of gold to those knights who have pledged themselves to him.
And does Orpheus not have knights of his own to guard the wizard of Dorchester?
Alas, there are questions of commitment. Many knights of Silchester are frightened of the wizard's dark magic, rumors of his satanic heritage, and as they should, as good men of Londonium and Silchester, very questionable status towards Merlin stealing the child. There are no good men of Silchester who find themselves of good reputation with the wizard Merlin, and thus the Duke must look afar for those who have less ire and scorn for the archdruid.
Interesting. Well, this is a matter obviously I'll have to discuss with the brothers of my order and also with my countess, but I thank you for bringing it to my attention.
Of course. Can I offer you a slice of cheese in this troubling time? He offers you Welsh rarebit, which is literally just a piece of bread with like baked cheese on top.
Yep, that sounds good. All right, I'll give that a try.
It tastes like toasted bread with a piece of cheese on top.
Sidebar, can I ask what everybody here's favorite cheese is, just in reality? I'll go first. Mine's Jarlsberg. Jarlsberg is my favorite cheese.
Wow, look at this fancy man here.
I like a good smoked Gouda.
Any sort of Gouda is pretty Gouda.
I'm sorry, I'm so basic, motherfuckers. I like a provolone. It melts well,
Yeah,
and you can.
Provolone's great.
You can cut a nice provolone with some meat. You know,
When you said basic, I thought you were going to say cheddar.
I like cheddar. What's your beef with cheddar? What's wrong
Cheddar
with
and
cheddar?
beef go really well together.
And I'm not even talking like a sharp cheddar or an aged cheddar, just like a mild cheddar. What's wrong with that,
No,
James?
I'm
It's
just-
okay to like cheddar. If you don't buy the pre-shredded stuff, it shreds well, it melts
Just saying,
well.
if it's your favorite cheese, you probably like playing fighters in D&D as well. So
If I didn't like provolone so much, I would have said cheddar, you son of a bitch. I'm basic as fuck, and vanilla's my favorite ice cream flavor. What about it?
anyway,
And I do like playing fighters in D&D, but not as much as I like playing wizards. I would say that provolone is the wizards of D&D. I'm lying. Provolone is the warlocks of D&D because of its dark power. It can be combined with anything. All right, you leave talking to this herald, who is somewhat less annoyed and flamboyant than I am, given that I'm in rage mode. I think now is a good time. We're way off schedule, you know, because we got started late. I think now is a good time to take a break, maybe our only break. I don't know. And then when we come back, we'll see who Kyned goes to talk to. Well. So we've returned. Kyned, just before you go to talk to whoever you have chosen, you hear talk going from Ellen's side of the room down the hall. Like physically, people are whispering it to each other. An announcement that the Lady Jenna will be holding a squires tournament before the hunt in her honor, and that whichever squire performs best will receive a early knighthood and a estate directly from her hand. So this is an opportunity for the best performing squire in this county to be promoted to knight immediately.
Feel like Kyned will definitely enter his squire Afanwi into said tournaments, and will, you know, spread this knowledge far and wide for anyone else who might be
Passively
interested.
spreading the conversation further down the hall.
Exactly.
Who would you like to talk to right now?
Right now, I believe that remind me, the player, who the head of Sussex is.
You're looking for Prince Selin of Sussex.
But Selin was Wessex.
That's Kendric,
That's Kendric. Okay.
whose father is Cerdic.
Sure. Okay.
We're just going to throw a bunch of names at you.
I think what we messed up is so Ayla is Sussex. So Asquine is not the Prince of
Yes,
Ayla.
you're correct. That was me. I made that mistake.
Yeah,
Yes.
Asquine is the Prince of Athelstwyth.
Yes. That is correct.
So Selin is Ayla's son, and that's who I wanted to talk to, I guess. So I guess you're left with Asquine of Essex, then, who is the son of Athelstwyth, whatever it is.
Which is who Ulfius is going with, or no?
Ulfius is going with Sussex.
Yeah, which is Ayla, which is
Sussex.
yeah,
Okay.
which is Selin. So Selin, who is who I'm going to go see. Sorry.
Okay. So if you're going to see Selin, and it would not go well for me to go to see Wessex, then I guess I am left with Essex.
Okay. You're going to go see the sorry, which one? Essex?
Asquine.
You're going to see Asquine. All right. So you've heard him address as Prince through most of the night, but when you approach him, the Saxons around him, and they truly are like there's no attempt to hide the fact that these are invading barbarians in your lands. Like, out of the three princes here, these are the guys that are not making any pretension that they're knights, not making any pretensions that they're princes. They make no attempt to pretend that they've integrated in Brittonic culture at all. These are full Saxons and Angles and Jutes that surround you. These are big men, perhaps not as big as Kendric men, but they are big men and wearing like animal skins. It almost seems like a display of savagery in an attempt to intimidate you in some way. And they refer to Gwgan as their eighthling, not as their prince, when you are presented to him. You are brought into the center of a circle of men who are passively attempting to intimidate you. A lot of seen biceps, a lot of flexing, a lot of like checking you out. It is as if you've pledged yourself to a fraternity and you are now being judged whether you are truly worthy to be here or not.
So Kyned, put this into perspective from his perspective. Kyned is size 16. He is a big boy.
Yeah.
He spent most of his life on the bottom as a bastard, just getting knocked around. He is known far and wide for being vengeful. So Kyned is not at all intimidated by these guys. He is absolutely going in just as much alpha dog as they are, squared up. And while he is not famous for his hatred of Saxons, it's there. He's got a 14. So he's not he is not suffering any of these fools and their attempts to intimidate him.
The eighthling Gwgan, as I've previously mentioned, he's the one with like chin, hand, elbow, foot fully on a bench, puts his cup down and turns to face you. And
just so that I'm remembering correctly, he is the one that we originally pledged to 2 years ago.
No. You have never pledged to this man.
Okay.
Or did you? Maybe you did. Did you guys pledge to him on the far side? Yes. Okay.
It was Essex, yeah.
Well, yeah, you pledged to his dad, but yes. He turns towards you and says, Sir Kyned, I know you. He walks up to you, rolling his shoulders in the process, puts a finger on your chest.
And how do you know me, Gwgan? Or is eighthling the title, or is
Eightling's the title?
And how do you know me, eighthling?
They say you run with a wild wolf with a huge cock. One that tears the throats from Saxons and leaves them dying in the mud. A beast savage that has surrounded himself by equally vile and terrible creatures. Men with cruel swords who walk fairy halls.
I've never seen his cock do that, but it does sound like him.
I like you. I like you, Sir Kyned. They say that you were not born to the life of a knight, but you earned it by surviving your so-called betters.
I have fought for everything that I have.
He goes to wrap an arm around your shoulder. Like a huge, meaty bicep, like in the crook of his arm sort of deal.
Feel that you and I are both men of battle, men of action, men of deed.
And I assume you've come here to talk about tribute for Essex, your old friend, one that you have paid before. Why go to other halls whose men are of ill repute that you know not well, when you can go with a trusted ally from afar who's always got your back?
This is what I wanted to speak with you about.
Choose wisely. Choose Essex.
We paid you tribute 2 years ago, and suddenly the men of Vertigorn were on our doorstep.
Did we not ward them off? Did we not come to your aid when called?
Did you? We saw no vast armies of your father.
And yet you saw no men of Wessex in your land either. Come now. Tribute does not mean that we are forced to fight and spill blood in your lands. Threats, as we move through the forest, are much more convincing than fighting among your castles.
As one man of honor and battle to another, we have been approached by all three of your tribes. We want to back the winning side.
Let me tell you this. I will tell you what no one else in this hall knows. The county of Huntington bends the knee to the King of Essex. Not tribute. The Count of Huntington pays homage to the King of Essex, he calls it. A Saxon king. Knights ride under our banner. For they cannot trust their neighbors anymore. Ridichan? Fall into chaos. The Fens? Too busy fighting among themselves. Anglia? Surely not. No, it is in Essex that Huntington places its faith. It is in our iron and in our warriors.
Is that? Okay.
So if you're looking on the map...
just north of Hertford.
Yes, so if you're looking on the map, these two areas are now united as one.
Okay.
It would be wise of you to advise your fellow knights and your countess to choose the winning side, as you say. What could win more battles than Saxons and knights riding side by side for once?
I know there's not a is it to detect if this is true, is that an intrigue roll?
I would take intrigue or awareness. He's looking at a sheet right now and determining his intrigue is higher than his awareness. That's what
it's true.
Know that I knew the answer to that question before he ever asked it, audience, because I knew this shit was going to come up. You can look at his face as he's doing the calculations and insert the meme with the trigonometry there.
I was trying to figure out, because I like there's not there's not the normal skills for this, so I wasn't sure which.
You're going to have to make that decision based on what you've seen of this guy's body language or what he said. But if you want to throw awareness or intrigue into the fire here, I'm gonna allow it.
Throw intrigue.
Okay.
That is a success. 11 on a 16.
Okay. Here is what you know that he isn't saying. This guy is afraid of the South Saxons. He legitimately is concerned that even with the full force of Essex and their knights, I mean, this is an unprecedentedly large force. He is definitely concerned that the South Saxons are still strong enough to fight off Essex and commit themselves to other things.
So is that just Sussex or the combination of Sussex and Wessex?
No, from his point of view, he believes that he's stronger than Wessex and less strong than Sussex. But he's trying not to show it. He's trying to posture. And to be clear, he also thinks that he's much stronger than like Silchester or Ridichan or Salisbury. Like with these new knights from Huntington, they are truly a very powerful mixed army. And he's still worried that South Saxons are stronger than he is. I feel like you catch it from like the set of his jaw and the way he's looking to the men around him for like backup so that they can flex on you. And yet you still see his men look at the South Saxon representatives and are like kind of losing it. Like, oh man, we got to flex on these guys. Like this is our competition here, are the South Saxons. It's two groups of I don't know what we call them, vendors, and they're like, these guys have the superior product. We've got to have better marketing. All right, keep cool. Better marketing is going to win the day here.
Value add. Need to add value add.
Okay, thank you, James. I knew you'd know. I knew you'd know sales terminology for me. And you see through his, I wouldn't call it lies exactly. He does believe that his forces are strong. But he's concerned that they aren't as strong as the South Saxons.
And Sussex is
the South Saxons,
right? And that's who Ulfius is
it's true.
allying with.
That's who Ulfius is going to.
You make a compelling case, Atheling Esquine. And you have a great show of force, and I believe that you and Huntington will be quite the force to be reckoned with. I will say, I will take your offer to my liege. I will say that this year there will be only one group that we give tribute to. So you should give your best offer and do whatever you need to do to beat the shit out of your opponents. Make yourself the most fearsome.
Are you trying to influence him into taking an action? I don't know if this is like trying to subtly push him into starting a literal fight here, like a actual brawl.
Okay. I don't want him to start a brawl in the halls of Salisbury.
Okay.
But you know, if I, you know, I don't know that I as one man am able to do this, but like if I could push him into a more aggressive stance against the other two Saxon tribes, If I can
Define
get
for
them
me
all
what.
turn on each other,
Yes.
that's the best
Sure,
possible
but you
case
want that to happen without physical violence, then, right?
without physical violence, like in the halls of
Okay.
Salisbury.
All right.
Like I don't.
I want to roll, my man. I want to roll. I want an intrigue roll for sure. And I want a fresh intrigue roll.
Can I call upon my hatred of Saxons?
Yes, you can
Because
add
I
your
just want to
directed.
see the world burn.
Yes,
so,
you can add your directed trait hatred Saxons here.
It's not
Oh,
a
it's not a
directed
passion?
trait.
No,
Okay.
It's a passion.
GLHF, I guess.
Nope, I
Nope.
do not. But it's a bullshit one, so it doesn't. I don't go insane. It doesn't hurt me. I will just do the intrigue then. Too bad that 16 would have been a crit.
It's not like in Wonderwall where the fire in your heart is out. Okay.
That's a crit, though.
It is a crit. All right. You fucking mind games this guy. You GrimDarkJames trying to convince me to delete my entire channel and delete all the Discord. You start saying things to this guy, and all he can hear is a buzzing rage in the back of his head, The Boys Season 4 style, as he's just looking at the other two Saxon princes. And you're just like, remember, my lord, how they've showed you up in the past. Aren't your courtiers stronger than his courtiers? It would truly be wise of you to show how much stronger you are than the others in front of our countess, but not breaking our culture or rituals. And all he's fully bought into your absolute bullshit. And he immediately breaks up this meeting right here and divides his men up. And they go and get into drinking and shouting matches with the other two groups, and it is fully even more disruptive now. They are essentially battling over recitations of Saxon law and poetry, like who's got the better minds, essentially, is what he challenges them to. And what's happening is that when two people disagree, they're being asked to go outside to settle it privately, which is code word for as soon as they're outside the walls, you can start beating the shit out of each other. No, what? Rat battle? No, absolutely not. Good King Pellinor isn't here. No, they go beat the shit out of each other outside. Out by the sty pit. Okay, so Kyned, you can go ahead and checkmark intrigue, and you fully upended this entire hall into more chaos than before.
Awesome.
There's now tons of shouting and languages half the people here don't understand, as the Saxons are all Saxoning it up.
Were my compatriots able to talk to the other Saxon kings before I fucked everyone's shit up?
They're fully involved in spreading. Listen, they're above this petty bullshit, just to be very clear. Like, it's one thing for their people to be involved in it, but they are truly important men who are above shouting at other people like that. They literally have people to do that for them. Who would like to go next?
Kyned will if possible make eye contact with both of his friends and significant PC glance wink.
You say that, and in front of Kendric, Gwent's head shows up and gives you a significant NPC glance before disappearing back into the crowd.
I think Spoon should go next. Spoon's wait a little longer.
Okay. Who do you want to talk to, Kendric? Plenty of people here.
Yeah. So I think I'll start with Kendric.
Okay. You go over to talk to Kendric. Kendric notices you, and he immediately takes a big sniff. And he goes, "So Kendric, I sense that you have not been using any perfumes or oils. I've recently gotten some good product from the Western Roman administrative era. If you'd like to sample some and something from the, Parisian districts, downriver, as it were. Can I offer you something? I know you have a wife, but I hear that you're taking more in, and it's always good if you want to attract the ladies. Now, he says this loud enough that several people here nearby hear that and are like, ooh, hot goss from the Saxons about Kendric.
Is Kendric's wife still in his arm as well when you said this?
Oh my god, that would be incredible. You tell me, Kendric.
I don't think so. I don't think he would bring her to talk to a Saxon.
Okay.
Thank you, Atheling, but currently my
Please,
personal hide.
Prince Kenric. Met
Prince
before.
Kenric.
No need to be so formal.
Of course.
You'll have to excuse my retainers. The truly Saxon among us seem to be getting a little uppity. They don't understand their place beneath our boot heels as knights.
Indeed.
Wessex and your county share so much together. A border, a lineage, a knighthood. We once swore to the same king, Vortigern. When you are looking for allies, why look any further than your own borders? Does not the great general say an enemy away from you is better than an enemy close to you? So if you only have friends close to you, your enemies must be far.
I would agree. But
He gives you Zoolander face. He's like,
blue steel.
maybe a bit of like the deep mixed in there. The deep turning, he's doing his intro where he's facing backwards. He's like,
I can't see this dude as anything other than the deep now. I definitely I hear what you say, and I agree with much of it. But as you can see, there are many other Saxons in the hall this year. We need something special to set you apart so that I can make the case to my countess that you should be the ones that we choose.
he steps in close to you and hands you like a vial of perfumes and says, the truly Saxon among us don't understand knighthood the way that we do. We are like brothers, you and me, in the same way that Wessex and your county are brothers. Estranged, perhaps. We've gone afar and learned things, but truly, are we not from the same branch of a tree? Are we not bound by blood together?
Perhaps, but not yet.
Would you trust your back to the men of Essex once again?
I would trust my back to my brothers first. But tell me, Kendric, what are you... I've heard much of other Kendric nobles allying with other Saxon tribes. Can Wessex face the combined might of Silchester and Sussex?
I see what you're doing. You're trying to turn us against our Saxon brother. I appreciate the effort. I applaud it even. But if you think the news that Ulfius will align himself with Sussex is the same thing as Ulfius marching alongside Sussex, you have another thing coming. It would truly be a momentous event for a duke or a count to pledge homage and march with the Saxon king. I don't think we're going to see it anytime soon. And we aren't asking that of you. We aren't asking you to pledge to us We have asked that of you in the past and you rejected it. And we're respecting your sovereignty, your privacy, because we're brothers and we understand you. But if you're ready to do that, we're fully willing to admit you into our culture, into our people, and encapsulate, embrace, surround, and protect you with a hug. And with a hug with arms clad in night steel. Let me ask you a question, Kendric. You want a hug from your brother? And he holds his arms out wide. You want a hug from your brother right now? Bring it in.
Kendrick.
Bring it in.
Kendrick reaches out, like puts a hand on his shoulder and says,
he reaches out to put one hand on your shoulder. So now you guys are forming, like one hand on each other's shoulder. Okay. This is a new type of hug. You and I, we just invented it right here between us.
Indeed. So what would you have me tell the Countess that would set you apart from your other two brothers or your two Saxon
I would say
competitors?
we are offering a good neighbor discount this year. You've been good to us. You've been polite and considerate, and we understand you have a lot of competing offers. We're willing to say 80 pounds this year in tribute.
I think that's a good offer. Is that your best offer, though?
What have you heard?
Well, I saw my brother-in-arm Kyned speaking with the Atheling from Essex.
A swine. That swinish dog. Always walking around, gesturing towards his genitals towards me in an attempt to make me enraged. I keep telling him he needs to wash those genitals and cover them in perfume if he wishes to attract mates. A fool.
And I don't know what was said, but they did seem to have very deep and intriguing conversation.
I want to imagine your hands are still on each other's shoulders. Right. You feel him squeeze your right shoulder, well, your left shoulder with his right hand, and he says, I would appreciate it if you could figure out what Essex is offering at the table. And I promise you that we will beat it.
Okay.
There's no need to worry about Essex getting between you and us. We will beat whatever offer they have. And I'm willing to bet that 80 pounds is a solid offer on the table already.
Okay. I just hope it's good enough. And he'll squeeze Kendrick's shoulder back and then drop
I want you
his
to
hand.
make an intrigue roll now to psyops this guy. You have fully walked yourself into this, so
I'm sorry, you froze for a second.
I need you to make an intrigue roll.
Okay,
because you're psyopsing him. You're
okay.
you're literally like, I hope your offer is good enough.
Can I make an argument for courtesy? Because I think Kendrick actually doesn't dislike
Okay,
Kendrick.
fine. I'll allow courtesy here.
Okay.
Like I'm the one being psyops now.
Success.
Wow. Okay, go ahead and check mark courtesy because this is an important roll. All right. He doesn't believe that you're manipulating him. He just thinks that you're good bros and good friends, perfume buds, and that you're looking out for his best interests because he truly doesn't understand how the world works.
So to give some background here, like Kendrick's family was not involved with like the Night of Long Knives. They were, I don't know if they were loyalists to Vortigern, but they were like fence sitters, I think.
Okay.
So like he has no ill will.
You got no
towards,
beef with this guy.
Yeah. I have no beef with the Goesi.
Still, it is rough to,
Yeah,
for someone
why
who
we
once
send Kendrick
offered
over
loyalty
there.
to the Pendragons, it is a bit rough
yes.
to have the Goesi show back up wearing Saxon clothes.
I was to say he does still have hatred Saxon, so.
Yeah. And these guys are really trying to ride the line between we are Saxon, but also we are knights. And neither side really believes that shit.
Mhm.
They truly are the half-elves of this setting. Okay, who's next on this roulette of one-on-one meetings, which is definitely my favorite part of this game, is two people waiting 20 minutes.
I think it's me going to see Prince Selin.
Okay, you go to see Prince Selin. He is seated quietly. His hair has been tied back into like braids going around, almost like a crown. Truly, the area around him is pure chaos as drinking games, dicing games, shouts of Saxon law. Someone is calling for who is the true king of Britain, but from like the Saxon point of view, they want to know who's the overlord. And Selin sits quietly and just kind of observes it all as people come to talk to him. He has quiet conversations with them and sends them on their way. You sit
He's not
across
been
from him.
he's
You
not
have
been
never
to
met
Salford,
Selin before, and he has never been here.
Okay. Well, I'll approach then.
Okay. He gestures to you to sit down across from him, and he says, "You are Sir Gwgan, yes?"
Yes, Prince Selin.
Prince Selin. I will
Would you
accept this.
Would you prefer a different form of address?
No. No. My father is king of the South Saxons. I will take this.
I saw your father once. I was still a squire at the time, but there's a Battle of Meercrid Creek.
Meercrid Creek. Was some
13
time
years
ago. Yes. I assume he looked glorious and dashing as always.
Well, the battle was, as many battles were back then, a stalemate. Are you... So this is your first time in Salisbury. Has it treated you fairly?
I am pleased that the Countess not only received us, but provided us this wonderful area where we may sit and discuss with the knights and such.
Were you born in these isles, or are you from the Saxon lands?
Does it matter?
Oh, I was just curious. I don't know much about Saxony.
Here's
but I
what
know
you
that-
need
I
to
know
know about southern lands of Britain. We are here and we're not leaving. One day those lands will be my lands.
It's just South Saxony that interests you? I mean, I was curious. So in your homelands, do you still have multiple kings, or is there a high king of the Saxons as well in your ancient lands?
There is a discussion here in Logris about who holds Imperium. A Roman term. I like it. It means who holds authority over others. A high king, an over king, a wide king, a British king. A British king is in a king over the Britons, not a king of the Britons. There are many who speak my father's name when they are making such decisions. There are many who would say that Sussex, as your people call it, hold Imperium over all Saxons.
Well, Britain has always fared better under a high king than under a kingdom divided. We are stronger as a united kingdom. And I imagine that it would be similar for the Saxon lands of Britain to be under a single king. There are many among...
I'm deeply touched by your concern for Saxon affairs.
Well, the thing is, as you say, you're not leaving. That means that Saxon affairs are British affairs. Though we may continue to fight, we will also, for a time, coexist.
Coexist. He looks down at his drink and then looks back at you with a strange expression. Yes, coexist.
there are others among my peers who pay great respect to your father as King of Sussex. That he was one of the first Saxon kings to establish a strong foothold here.
There are some
going
who
back
say that
to my
he is
youth.
the inheritor of Hense and Horst. Yes.
Indeed. Men I also met in battle.
You're well traveled. There are many who say that you have the ear of your countess, perhaps other things still. You're an influential man. You have installed a castellan in your name.
The Countess pays close attention to the guidance of me and my brothers.
Should I take your presence here to mean that she is seriously considering our offer?
You should take my presence here to mean that she is seriously considering all offers, but that she means to choose one.
Choose one.
And
you should
yes.
choose wisely then, the best, the strongest, the one that holds Imperium over all others.
But do the others accept that it
and wisdom to see it?
Well, I see that you feel, and I have heard others say that if Imperium is held, it is held in the hands of Sussex. I wonder, Britons may know this, but do the other Saxons know this? Will they recognize the seniority, the authority, as you say, of your King Father?
He leans forward, but is careful not to put his elbows on the table, and says, the affairs of the Saxons will take care of themselves in Saxon places with Saxon eyes and ears. I expect soon such decisions will be finalized. But they are not yet. And so if you must choose one, you must choose wisely.
And does that mean then that if we choose you and we are contested by Saxons that do not yet accept the authority of your king, that you will step in to enforce that Imperium?
The word of Sussex is backed by the steel of Sussex. I understand your people have dealt well with the King of Essex, and that rather than send troops, he sends words to solve his problems. That is not the way of Sussex. We will enforce the will of our tributes with blood and steel. Fear makes our opponents quake, and lessons are taught. And you can kind of see that this guy's had like a pretty placid expression so far, and now he's on that real like psychopathized shit.
I mean, I've tried to avoid smiling to him or implying any sort of familiarity.
Yes, James, I know. You've been pretty Jamesy about it.
Very well. You have given me and my brothers things to think about and to discuss at length with the Countess. I suspect you will hear an answer very soon.
Am I to assume then that your Order of the Axe are the power behind the throne here? That you and your brothers would make such decisions on behalf of the Countess? This is news to me.
Our capacity is advisory. She is free to ignore it if she chooses. She is the regent of Salisbury, and therefore we defer to her decisions. But we ensure that every decision she makes is guided by the most sound opinion
of her closest advisors. then it would seem that I am talking to the right person. As are you not the most glorious of knights? Some would say that you are a champion of Salisbury, the right hand of the county and its countess.
I have a lot to thank my family for when it comes to my glory, but it is true that in today's Salisbury, I hold the highest glory.
Sussex cares little for glory. We care much for honor. And in our estimations, you are an honorable man.
Thank you for your candor.
As you're leaving, you hear him say, you deal with your enemies the way that we deal with our enemies, and the way that we will deal with your enemies.
I'll just give him a nod, a down nod, not enough nod.
He withdraws back into his mask of placidness from psychopath. Who's next on the roulette wheel of people you want to meet with tonight? Because there's so many fucking things going on all at once.
I think. Well, I'm signaling a gathering.
All right. You signal a gathering. You see that Gwent does not join you. He has instead rounded up Hayden, Erwin, and Seeth, and they are privately engaged in some sort of mission for Gwent, which appears to be like arranging the squires for the squires tournament. They're trying to like game the system and make sure that their squires get in on it.
Just pick the strong squires and get them drunk now, so that they're.
There you go.
Just to be clear, this tournament isn't for like 6 months.
Okay.
But they're positioning now politically to make sure that their squires are allowed to join.
Is the wedding happening this year?
Yes, but it's in 6 months.
Okay. So we meet back up, the three of us.
So how do we go? Kendric?
Wessex is offering a discount on tribute. Only £80 this year.
I'll tell you that Essex believes that they can easily take Wessex. They now have a full-on alliance with Huntington. But they didn't want to say it out loud, but I could see in their eyes they are still afraid of Sussex. Also, you're welcome. I might have set them into arguing with each other. That should buy us some time.
Is that why it's so much noise here now?
Indeed.
Well, Sussex almost seems keen to cross swords with their with the other Saxons, if only to establish dominance. They believe themselves to be the ones that will come out on top, and they mean to prove it by force of arms. I guess the question is, in which lands do these battles take place, and how do we ensure they're not ours?
Yeah, hopefully Saxon lands.
There's also a matter that Ulfius's representative brought to my attention. Apparently, the wizard Merlin has emerged again and is looking for escorts to take him to Dorchester, to take a ship to the continent. Ulfius seems keen to be rid of the wizard. I imagine there are others here who would, or at least there are probably others that would seek to remove his head from his neck. So I can see why, if he was to try and leave, he might require some sort of escort. We have a strange history with Merlin.
Indeed. There are things I would like to ask the wizard, but his safety is not my first priority.
If he is leaving Britain, this may be your last chance to ask those questions.
Hmm.
And to know that he's gone for good.
Damn wizard, always manipulating things.
I
I'd
know
rather
some
he
of
be.
you still feel allegiance to Igraine. If either one of you want to speak with her representative, I would not fault you for taking the opportunity. I can go and see good King Lot.
I have no wish or need to speak with Igraine's representative.
I'm curious as to why they're here, though.
Well, I mean, one if you don't wish to speak to Igraine's representative, I could, but I thought you might have one of the two of you might have a personal relationship there. Kendric, I understand that Merlin might have questions you need answered, so I don't want to take you from it, but I'm also happy to stand in for you if you we only have so much time before the feast is over.
I think I will go speak with the Queen's herald. If perhaps Gwgan, there is a herald from Cornwall here. I'm curious as to what rates he's offering for service. I got a letter from Sir Thebert. He was our commander at Terrabo when we were garrisoned there. I'm curious to see what King Edris is paying versus what Earl Urban is paying. Or Count Urban. I'm not sure which.
Earl
Urban. But if you have no one else to speak to, it's just curiosity.
Mm. So, did you want me to speak with Idris's representative then?
If you don't mind.
I've had good relationships with Cornwall in the past.
Very well.
Family's had dealings with Merlin. I'm happy to speak with him. Or if you feel that we'd get more information out of Lot's representatives.
I think my questions are for Merlin himself, not for someone representing him, but
Was it Merlin who's here, or just his representatives?
a representative for the wizard Merlin.
Okay, well then
Merlin himself is not here.
got the information we need. Then, then in that case, I'll go speak with good King Lot's folks.
Before all of you break, you see that the whole hall is being filled with calls for drinks and toasts that are rolling from the different Saxon representatives around the room. And there is some social pressure around you to both drink and offer a toast to someone, anyone. It's almost like a toast off, like a Toastmasters thing, where people are not toasting the same. Like the Saxons are all toasting their king or their prince, and then the knights are all like toasting Ellen or toasting Jenna, Ufo, Ulfius, the missing prince. Some of them are toasting the Pendragon name. Others, someone like quietly says Merlin somewhere, and like people are trying to figure out who did that. So if you'd like to resist this event, I would like you to make some sort of temperance roll, or otherwise get involved.
I think I will definitely toast to the health of our beautiful and hospitable host.
Okay. You can put a checkmark simp in for your Amor Ellen then.
All right.
I will toast to my wife.
Okay. You can also put a checkmark simp in, as many people also cheer to your wife.
I will in a much more dutiful way toast to Earl Robert and the Countess Ellen. I'm happy to test indulgent if that will help me with such thing.
I will ask you to check Loyalty Lord, and then if you want to check Indulgent, I will ask you to make a roll to get absolute. Like, just to be clear, you're gonna be real fucking drunk and wild if you fail this. If you succeed, you'll drink an impressive amount.
Feel like I really want the next scene more than I want to be drunk, so I'm gonna. So is this a roll for Loyalty Lord, or I
No,
just get a
you're
check?
checking Loyalty Lord.
Oh,
you're putting
okay.
a check mark in it,
Okay.
and then you're rolling Indulgent if you want to get drunk and rowdy about it.
I am not going to get so drunk and rowdy.
Okay. My man talked himself into and then out of a test.
Well, the way you phrased it made me think that I really want the scene with Lot's representative, and I might have been unconscious otherwise.
Yeah.
Oh, you would not have been unconscious. You would just be real drunk.
Yeah. There's some really fun rules for being drunk in Book of the Feast. Like you get a bunch of pluses and minuses.
Crit!
Holy shit.
My man, it's legendary what happens to you this night. First off,
So is that automatic? It goes
I believe
up?
you automatically move to a 14.
Yes.
And then I think you still get a check in it, and if you don't, you should get a check in it anyway from me, handing one to you. Look, you're drinking people under the table left and right. You know what I mean? Like, you're not a young man anymore, but this is collegiate level Bacardi 151. Yeah, this is famously drunk. Like, you are truly unhinged at this moment and performing on a different... You're having an out-of-body experience at how drunk you are. And, like, Saxon after Saxon is sitting down across the table from you, and he's like, so, you think you can out-drink me? And then they're like, lying on the bench drunk. You're walking around, you're like, what's it called with the animated strut, the Loxley strut or whatever? You're literally like walking around strutting. You are so drunk for the rest of this, but you fully have control of your faculties. You're not sick. Well, you're not feeling sick, and you truly are filled with a bolstering confidence that only liquid can give you. Someone in chat is calling it finish strong.
My boy, who he and I had a couple of trips to Finland together. Yes, that is truly Finnish drunk.
You know where you're at. You go over to talk to representatives of King Lot. The herald says, Sir Kyned, wondrous night to you, sir. I am an esquire for King Lot, regent of Logris. I will spread the very impressive message of your glory here today and write down that you get 5 points of glory for being recognized by the regent of Logris for being an impressive alcoholic. The whole realm will hear of what you did here tonight. On a more serious note, sir, can I get close to you and ooh, strong smell, strong manly smell. Have you heard? The wizard Merlin is returning. Just don't light
your pipe.
3 parts rum to 1 part sea, they say, or something like that. I know not. Such things won't come about for another few hundred years. Let me say this. You may have heard that the wizard Merlin is crawling out of his ridiculous cave in order to head to Dorchester. My master is regent of Logres because of Merlin's thievery of a child and his interruption into the events of ruling the realm. Good King Lot would see to it that men of arms, of strong arms and stout minds, battle the wizard and end him once and for all. He is willing to offer a manor in the Isles of Orkney of his choice to the knight who strikes Merlin down and returns with proof of the wizard's head.
His head, you say?
His head. The rest of it do with as you wish.
Does it have to be the head?
It does have to be the head. Otherwise, how will we know it's Merlin?
Fair enough.
You could just kill some random person by the road and say that's Merlin if you smash the face in.
Well, sir, I shall pass the news of your liege's cattle call, and we'll see if anyone takes you up on it.
I will pass the news across the realm wherever I might travel to the impressive feats that you have shown tonight. Never have I seen a man imbibe as much as you, walk in a straight line, and recite the alphabet backwards.
To your health.
To yours, sir. Surely you do not need it, though, for a man as vibrant in life as you are. Okay, you leave the representative from King Lot. Who's next?
Kendric.
This is probably going to be our final conversation of the night, just to be clear.
Okay.
Kendric, who are you going to?
I'm going to speak with the Herald of Igraine.
The Herald of Queen Igraine, as you approach, is very clearly a woman pretending to be a man. Wearing men's clothes, she has her hair tied back, but unlike the rest of the people here, you are not so drunk as to not notice this is, someone trying to pass. Yes, Sir Kendric! It is well known among Queen Igraine's courtiers of you. You are a member of the Order of the Axe, are you not?
I am indeed.
Punches you in the chest and says, you must be full of feck to approach a representative of Queen Igraine then, given her relationship to you and your men.
We have had our differences in the past.
You've lost her son and blatantly murdered a woman under her protection.
What is it Queen Igraine seeks?
You're not
here?
welcome here. Move along.
Very, very well, madam.
Sir? You mean sir, do you not?
Do I?
Oh, boy. Okay.
Wow.
She comes over to you and is just like, you mean sir, correct? Perhaps your eyes deceive you, coward.
Is it not?
Would you
perhaps if
like to
tell
step
me-
outside behind the midden piles and have this discussion further, Sir Kendric?
If you are the knight you claim to be, you will tell me.
I claim to be a
why.
herald, not a knight, but I
Very
am
well.
a man, not a woman.
Then what are you doing here, Herald?
Heralding. What are you doing here? Murdering children? And at that,
Watch
people nearby
your
are like,
tongue.
whoa.
You would break the
Why don't you step outside and we'll discuss this further, Sir Kendric?
very well. And I will follow them outside.
Okay. This woman goes outside with you and is immediately like stripping her gloves off on the way there, fully no longer attempting to hide that she's a woman, but 100% getting ready to have a fucking fight with you as soon as you round the next corner.
Mm-hmm. So I follow her outside and she wants to fight me.
Yeah, she wants to get in a bout of fisticuffs with you. Yes.
You're about to cheat your wife again, I think.
Oh, James, you gotta calm down, brother. You gotta relax.
I think that he just shakes his head. He's like, "What are you even doing here? Why are you doing this? Why
I'm
are you
doing what I've
pretending
been asked for by my
why,
queen.
why are you pretending to be a man?"
My business is my own. She
Okay.
starts doing fisticuffs and entering into an idle fighter animation, just moving back and forth, just come on, let's fight. I'm
Kendrick just
tired of you
turns and
looking
walks
down
away.
at me.
Like he just turns and walks away. She's not if she's not gonna
She
tell him
literally
why
is like,
she's there.
coward! Coward! Come back here and fight! I won! I'm better than a knight. And then she says it again quietly as you go back inside. Just loud enough that you can hear it above the roar of people getting hella drunk in there. And I love the camera, like, focus. It's like a reverse of the opening scene. It's Kendric coming in, the camera's fully focused, and we can see blurrily in the background a very sad lady picking up her now shit-covered gloves, just quietly saying, I'm better than a knight. He ran from me. He ran from me.
Sure.
Well, that's it for tonight. I think that this is a good place to stop. I don't know that we want to take another break and then do like 10 or 15 minutes. This is a good place here. We still have over half the dramatis personae to talk to here. Truly unhinged to think that the Queen of Grain would serve any of you when she literally wanted to murder you when you lost your child and was inches away from succeeding at that.
I just wanted to know why they were here.
Yeah. Well, they don't want you here.
I suspect to hire someone to murder Merlin.
That's like,
yes, they are indeed here to hire someone to murder Merlin. Yeah, but they're not going to hire you guys to do it.
No, but if we offer to help Merlin, they'll be like, sweet, we can get 2 birds with 1 stone.
Oh man, that would be a great deal for them.
Yeah, they're like, it's like coming into your house and then going, no, I'm not going to fucking talk to you. Get bent. I hate you.
They have no problem with hiring other knights here in this county. Just not you.
That, but like,
I understand that as player characters, you're upset that you were told to fuck off, but
yeah,
you're a problem.
One of the other things I think I've comes back inside, he's going to go, like, he's going to spread the word. No one talk to that person.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Are you using your position as like a glorious knight and a knight lord?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Right. Okay. Yikes. Let me just make a note here that you and the like, Queen of Grain
fully being like just masquerading as a man. Like, why is this person even here? Like this person does not deserve anyone's time.
All right. Just know that you have beef with the Queen now.
The Queen had beef with me first.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you did fail to recover her child, though, so...
I mean, that wasn't my job. That was Sir Brastius's job.
I'm sure if you ever see her, you can explain it to her calmly and reasonably in a logical way.
Sure. I'm sure Kendric could.
You've got all the skills necessary to make that happen, too.
I mean, he does have courtesy. But, like, that's, you know, if, like, he has good courtesy, which is why he didn't immediately, like, fucking eject this person for being an asshole to him, and it took a couple tries.
She had orders. Not to treat with you. Mostly not to treat with Gwgan, but the whole order of the axe is on the list.
Fair enough.
As men and women who lack feck, they're feckless. What an episode. Some very strange things happened. I got several NPCs wrong, but we got there. We know who everybody is now. And as you suspect, there are a bunch of representatives here hiring knights to either kill Merlin, protect Merlin, kill the Earl of Devon, or kill the King of Cornwall. So there's a lot of people asking you to leave and go kill someone else for them for money. Also, Merlin, as you have heard, is offering you a treasures of worth beyond gold. Which, given that it's Merlin, that was probably a really specific phrasing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's probably like information that will not be obvious to us until like the very last moment that it's useful. Yeah. And it's too late.
Or like, here's a rock.
You're gonna
It's
have
a
to
very
explain to me how
special
that's
rock.
a treasure of worth beyond gold, but okay.
You know, well,
Merlin invents the pet rock phase of culture in
Okay.
the 490s. Yeah.
Oh, it's a Tamagotchi.
yeah, it'll be like
Quokey pet.
Tungsten Quokey pet strawberry.
He's gonna give you tungsten.
Yeah, or like some, like aluminum, like something that's useless to a knight, but
hands
is
you
extremely valuable in the
1
future.
ounce of uranium.
Yeah,
exactly.
a lump of yellow cake. Here you go.
Your hair begins falling out. Your teeth are itchy for some reason.
My grandfather clock glows in the dark.
Oh god.
My grandfather glows in the dark.
This is horrible. All right, let me look up my schedule here while you guys think up any outros or anything you want to throw down.
If
My thought
David
is that next week
George
we're
from
not
the
good,
YouTube
though.
comments a few weeks ago sees this, I hope I lived up to your expectations tonight.
For some reason, I thought we're
We're off next week.
Yeah, off
on
next week. And then,
on the 22nd.
Yes.
Right? Yes, I thought we were out. I thought multiple people were out.
Yes.
And then how about after that? 29th?
Good. I'm good on the 29th.
Yep.
Okay. So we can return in 2 weeks to continue this feast. This might be the first multi-episode feast we've had.
it's been interesting though.
I have more Crusader Kings 3 / mini feast card events. For as long as you keep feasting and pushing this out, it's time to start making more checks.
for sure.
Lady Gwiona got some screen time today for the first time in a while, like doing something.
I enjoyed it. It was good.
I like how it immediately drew you away from what you were doing. Like you were like, my wife doing something? Forget everything else.
Yeah, I'll always go for a scene with my wife.
My wife.
My wife.
Just a reminder to the folks at home. A wife guy is not a guy who loves his wife. A wife guy is a guy who makes a lot of noise about how much he loves his wife while cheating on her. I mean, just be really clear here. Well, hold on. That is what a wife guy is.
I
mean, just be
understand, yeah.
real clear. I'm not saying you're doing that. I just want to make sure before anybody says Kendric is a wife guy, they understand that wife guy is a negative term. And I know this because I've seen a bunch of Twitch streamers who were definitely wife guys. Oh, and they're moderators as well. Any closing thoughts here? Anyone got any statements to make?
Sorry, I double critted and broke your game, AP.
Yeah, that was wild.
You didn't break my game, my man. You made it better.
Yeah.
You made it the best it could possibly be. This is literally going to be a night to remember. You've probably earned everybody at this table glory for being at this feast based on what you've done here. Like, the Saxons showing each other up plus being super drunk is going to make this feast legend daddy.
Wait for it.
Yeah, wait for it. Legend daddy. I just wasn't sure whether I should deploy my new streamer persona as the narrative sommelier tonight. And I'm glad I did it because I thought this was going to be way different. It ended up being a lot more ridiculous than grim and serious.
Well, that's what happens when.
Hey, I was grim and serious in my conversation. Thanks very much.
You know, James, you are but one man among four men. All right. I agree that you kept it real. You kept it APGamingREAL, I might even say. No, you kept it serious, so you definitely didn't keep it APGamingREAL.
In a, I'm playing in a D&D campaign where a friend of mine was like right near the end of running one of the pre-written games, but two players dropped out at the last minute. Like it's like a game that goes like level 11 and the players are level 9. And he asked for people to come in just to help to get it finished off. And I've actually run the module before, but I'm happy to do it and not have assumed player knowledge. But I didn't have any many character ideas, so I just sort of like slightly reworked Kithrix from your campaign.
Mhm.
But certainly, like the I did it as a paladin instead. So a halfling paladin. And one of the people that left the gaming group was the person that kept all the notes as well. So I've sort of replaced her by doing all the notes, but I'm doing all the notes as like my character's journal, which is very an upbeat rose-colored glasses type, halfling paladin. So every time I post notes there, it's like people are saying, I can't believe this is coming from somebody whose moniker is GrimDarkJames, when it's all like, this is the best day ever. Let me tell you what happened.
That's because, James, you're a good role player. You know how to play a role. Hey, did I kill your character today, James? Did I do that?
No.
Okay.
I was
then
actually
all that hassle you gave me at the start of the show.
I was actually going to say I'm looking forward to, as I said, because I've turned over creative control of my next character to you. I'm looking forward to seeing what you come up with, so that I can. So it's like it'll be a challenge. Like, okay, so you'll give me a set of stats, and I'll be like, okay, so I'm going to play a character who really likes horses, for example.
All right. I need to go listen to the Horse Girl rap from Dropout. Prepare for this. The Billie Eilish Horse Girl.
What one house rule we used in our Pendragon campaign we got from somebody online as well, which I thought was really good, was when it comes to doing the passions for characters that are the children of your initial characters, is you roll them by dividing the parent's passion by 4 and rolling that many d6. So you can find that, like the passions are either very close or very different, but they're obviously influenced by what their parents' passions are.
Okay. Interesting. On the other hand, I could just encourage you to send a bunch more pilgrimages to Jerusalem and Rome.
Still got a lot of kids to kill and a wife to kill.
Wow. Why are so many people trying to kill their wives? Now that's real.
It's just James.
That's real wife guy behavior right there. I've got a wedding to plan, a country to take over, a wife to murder, Gilder to blame for it. I don't remember. It's been years since I watched The Princess Bride. I should rectify that. I really should go back and watch Princess Bride.
It's a good one.
Hold on.
Just to be clear, the fencing discussion in that is way deeper than you'd think, because all of the fencing moves discussed are real. What are we looking at? Is this a DVD of The Princess Bride?
No. It's the Princess Bride
role-playing game source book.
That's real?
Oh.
It is.
If you want to laugh, there's a video on
Although
YouTube.
they lost the license, like the Kickstarter took so long to fulfill that they lost the license for it almost as soon as the book came out.
Unbelievable.
There's a great video on YouTube where some parents have shown The Princess Bride to their young children, and they've asked the children after watching it to recount the movie, and then the parents are dressed as the characters and acted out the scenes as the kids describe it from their memory as such. So it's very funny. It's very well done. My wife loves it.
Anybody want a peanut?
Speaking of licenses being lost, did you hear that Asmodee is end-of-lifing X-Wing and Armada?
I did hear that.
Two very popular miniatures games that are now going the way of the dodo.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna go see if I can pick up some good deals on Armada.
Yeah,
ships.
I was in my FLGS yesterday, and people were buying bulk X-Wing and Armada. So
yeah. Speaking of buying up X-Wing, when first I was like right before second edition came out, my local game store was like, "Hey, we're unloading this stuff. It's not selling." And so the owner, who was a friend of mine, was like, "If anybody wants it, it's like 75% off, but you have to buy the entire lot," which was like a bunch of stuff, and so I got like 2 or 3 grand of X-wing for much less than what the MSRP was.
Must be nice having an FLGS.
Yeah.
My local FLGS just really, someone tried to roast me on Discord, and I was like, that's some real, like, your GM advice is like real old school 90s, and we've moved past that. And the person exploded at me, and like the store employee who was the moderator was like, both of you need to calm down. I was like, I said one sentence and this person has like fully exploded at me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need to spend my money at your store, just to be very clear, if this is how I'm going to be treated. Like, there's no false equivalence here. Just like, I can buy Warhammer 40k 8th edition books online for the same price. So I did. And I've never gone back. Like, you know, I don't need to.
Yeah.
My FLGS closed like 10 plus years ago.
Rough. You gotta have that GrimDarkJames plan when you retire to open an FLGS. You know, become the game store you see in the world.
Well, actually, funny story there, because when I was selling all my dad's records, I was chatting to the guy buying that and saying that was something I wanted to do when I was, you know, a bit older, is, you know, retire into running a gaming store. And I ran into the guy again because I had some more records to drop off to him. And he's like, oh, I've been keeping an eye out for you for any like old games I might see in the secondhand set in case you want to buy them to put in your store.
Battle for North Africa.
Yeah.
James is going to run the first successful campaign in history, 20 years long. The last dice roll come from his hand on his deathbed.
And it will be to see if the Italians can have enough water to cook pasta.
To make pasta. The final roll of the game. The Italians need that pasta water. Oh, what an incredible thing. What an incredible. All right.
I do have one more thing before we go.
Oh, okay.
Guesting on, or at least on it's going to be audio only, but a show called The Fixer Files over on the Critical Hits YouTube channel. I don't know when it's going to come out, but we're recording next Sunday.
Critical Hits YouTube channel. Look at this guy up in the world.
It's going to be a Shadowrun Anarchy game.
There it is. Of course it's Shadowrun. Of course it is.
So
that's how you lure this guy in.
I'm pretty psyched, pretty excited. And they have a 2 seasons of a Shadowrun campaign in 3rd edition that is very, very good, called Sinless. SIN being all capitalized.
How Shadowrun adjacent. You know, as long as you're mentioning that, I'm guessing tomorrow night on Ticking Time Bob Gaming's channel as Lord Alabaster. I'm still working. I'm workshopping a voice, but I think I'm going to wear a cloak.
Is that for
Pendragon?
The Pendragon boys?
It's for the Pendragon boys.
Nice.
Thinking of talking about the philosopher Epicurean.
I got to catch back up on Bob's stuff.
I'll tell you, AP, that my son and I started watching Critical Role.
Okay, you did not, but good luck. Which campaign did you start with?
Well, we thought we'd start with Bell's Hell because he's watched Legend of Vox Machina, and I know that Mighty Nine is coming out next year as a cartoon, so we're like, let's just do a series like the most recent one. And I know it's not as well regarded as the other two.
Don't get me wrong.
It's not as well regarded. It's
great until Robbie Damon leaves, and then it really drops off. And then it'll continue to drop off every few weeks, even worse. But please continue.
Oh, yeah, it's just he wanted, and he's gotten like hell hardcore into D&D now. Like, he's constantly like, I set him up with the D&D Beyond app on his phone, and he's constantly like coming asking about, how good's this spell and that sort of stuff. And he's been reading RPG bot on character optimization, and he wants to watch people play D&D. So,
did you tell him that you have a character that was made on D&D Beyond that he could watch on a show?
Yeah, no, I told him
Okay,
that.
all right.
I don't think some reason watching me play doesn't really excite him.
Ah, I see. Yeah, of course.
That's like you know, famous like athletes or actors or whatever whose children are like, yeah, I don't give a shit that my dad is.
I want to
you know?
go. Listen, Stephen Curry. I want to watch LeBron. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.